that doesn't get you in the mood for a brand new episode of the Gimme the Hot Sauce podcast, I don't know what possibly could. This is episode 27. We're coming at you from the Nautilus Medical Technology Studios. Timmy Whispers is back. He was away in Houston last week. What were you doing in Houston, Whispers?
I was trying to set up my future.
Hey, your future's right here at this table. What are you talking about?
That is true.
Hey, the best of Stacy King. That was fun, wasn't it, King?
Yeah, it was awesome. It was I had a lot of fun.
It was awesome in a word.
Sometimes you forget that you say all these things, and you hear it play back. You go, "Oh, I said that. Oh, okay, I did say that." So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to listen to some of those things. You miss some of those times because those were successful times for the team, and now. It's been kind of a rough year, so you don't really get to do all the things that you once used to do, but you try to pick and choose your times to get them in there.
Well, courtesy to our grand master over there, John Stinger Walsh, you were doing some homework. Had the microphones at home?
Yeah, I had some
research. Special open for us?
Yeah, I had a little extra time last night to on the board, so I figured, hey,
that's nice. I took some good work.
Yeah, I took some liberties.
Well, this is episode 27, and
took some liberties.
Who knows?
Oh my
who
God!
owns the rights to those?
Wimbledon Whites.
Wimbledon
Whites.
You'll be hearing from their attorney, the various media companies that own the rights to this podcast. You're the one who brought it up. We wouldn't have said anything. But
I like to get in my plug though for episode 27 because Carlton Fisk wore 27, and then he flipped to 72
with the White Sox.
And I've got a couple of statistics I wanted to throw at you.
Go ahead and throw it to us.
His first game against the Red Sox, he hit 3 home runs, and in his career against the Red Sox, he hit 27. So, I mean, just talk about just how the numbers kind of play out. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah, he's, of course, Carlton Fisk, the Hall of Famer.
Okay there, Johnny. All right, way to start this show off with a little history.
A lot of great number 27s in history. You look back at some great baseball players. Juan Marichal, he was fantastic with that high leg kick. He was something to watch back in the 60s and 70s. Big Papi, David Ortiz, Vlad Guerrero, and then for the younger fans out there, Mike Trout wearing 27 right now. So not as many
Jamal Murray
27s in the other sports. Yeah, Jamal Murray's a good one. Eddie George from the world of football. And what else we got on John's list? So Casey Jones, who passed away this past year, the great Boston Celtics.
Steve Atwater.
Denver.
Oh, yeah, sure. Hard-hitting safety.
Hard-hitting safety. One of those big, the prototype big safety, the Ronnie Lott. I mean, he was a hitter.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's getting excited over there. He's a hitter.
Oh, yeah, he's a hitter. Yep.
Yeah, while we're doing our introductions, getting you set for the show, of course, we always want to thank our great sponsor at Bubble Up. Bubble Up is the cloud reimagined, the new way to visually organize any kind of content all in one place. Want to let you know we got some guests coming up later. We have J.B. Long, who worked with Stacy on some Bulls games, filling in for Neil Funk a couple of years ago. He is the play-by-play voice of the Los Angeles Rams, so he'll get us caught up on all things going on in the NFL. And we want to congratulate the King, Stacey King, named to the Oklahoma Hall of Fame, and we're going to have some special guests to revel in your stardom, Stacy.
It's a tremendous. Thank you. Big-time players make big-time plays, as I once said. You know what? It's a tremendous honor. It was something I never, ever expected, never even thought I would ever be part of. And so it's a tremendous honor, not just for myself, but for my family. I just wish my mom and dad would have had the opportunity to be there, but I know they're in heaven. They're watching, and they're very proud of their sons. So as I did my speech virtual, because I couldn't go because of the NBA protocol with the COVID, I don't go into the Hall of Fame alone.
Right.
There's thousands of people that, help pave the way for me to be the person, the player that I am today and what I was. And so I really thought, I really thanked a lot of people. So when I'm in there representing, the state of Oklahoma and my hometown, Lawton, Oklahoma, there's a lot of my people that are with me, teachers, coaches, friends, that are with me in there too.
Did you mention the fight with the one-armed girl in your speech?
You know what? Listen, you know what? I can't go in there with a loss, okay? I can't go. You can't be a Hall of Famer with one loss on your record.
So it spurred you to greatness, though.
Yeah, so I basically kept that out the way, because if I would have mentioned that, I probably would not have been in the Hall of Fame getting beat up by a one-armed girl. And so, Mark, since you like to bring up my tragic past, it just brings back bad memories, just picking at scabs, okay? I should have never told you this, because you use it against me, Shadowski.
We do have a great story coming up later. Right, with Lois.
Oh yeah,
and kind of a.
We always go back in the Wayback Machine with Stacy.
Yeah,
way back.
That's a good one.
Interesting.
The hot tub time machine, baby.
Mr.
Wait a
Peabody.
minute.
Well, let's start out in the present. We're coming at you, recording the show on Tuesday, May 4th. We're getting ready for Cinco de Mayo tomorrow, and this is a morning show. Otherwise, John would have some festive drinks ready for us.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, who said you can't drink?
Yeah.
I'm Irish. I'm Irish. Who said we can't drink, Tim? Timmy whispers.
It's not drinking all day unless you start in the morning.
So,
Exactly.
so not only are you white, you're white Irish.
Yes,
Okay, thank
yes.
you. All right.
Okay.
Yeah, Stacy doesn't have a game tonight. You do.
I do.
Yeah.
I don't have a game for 2 days.
Oh, my God.
So it's Cinco
this is
de
a good game to
Mayo.
celebrate.
It's Cinco de Mayo, baby. I'm celebrating. Oh, yeah. Hola. I'm right there.
Well, speaking of Cinco de Mayo, the Bulls are about ready to shout 1, 2, 3 Cancun.
Speaking of tequila, I'll tell you what.
Oh,
Moss
Tyson,
tequila.
pull up the punches over there.
The body language not great in the Monday night loss to the Sixers.
You know what? Bad starts.
Yeah.
It's plagued them all season long. It's either the first quarter or it's the third quarter. It's always a bad start.
Or both.
Or both. Well, wow, you guys are just pouring it on me today. They're pouring the hot sauce on me,
The dirt
America.
on top of the coffin.
Oh my goodness. 1 foot in, 1 foot out of the coffin, they say. But anyway, before I was really interrupted by the man who supports the Milwaukee Bucks, whose team is a top 3 team. Of course, he
Yeah.
can throw
Yeah, beat the
he can
Nets.
throw things at us from
Yeah.
over there, okay?
Yeah.
But
Reigning
they're not,
MVP.
They're not going to
Yeah.
get out of the Eastern Conference. So there. We'll see how you feel. What your tune is in about a month from
Yeah,
now.
we're gonna
okay?
be there, though. We're gonna be
Okay,
in
all right.
that battle.
All right, you'll only be a couple of series more than we will, buddy.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, all right. Okay. But anyway, if I was really interrupted by Stinger, who likes to rub in, the Milwaukee Bucks' success in my face. This is the first time they've been successful consistently in a few years. Like 5 years they've been successful, but all the other times, the Bulls used to own them.
Speaking, I have one. I want to interrupt you again, though.
What?
Breaking news or what?
I do, because the other night we were playing the Bulls. And there was a Gimme the Hot Sauce. Benny the Bull had Gimme the Hot Sauce sign. But we come out of it was the 50th anniversary of the Bulls winning. And I know, Mark, you were there in Marquette, winning the NBA championship over the Baltimore Bullets, Oscar, Kareem, Johnny Mack, John McLaughlin. And so I come out of that with the Bulls banners. So I don't know how that went over, but because we were talking about banners, and I keyed in, and I said, speaking of banners,
Yes.
and I went right to obviously the Stacey King portion of those banners, but
On the Bucks show?
yeah, on the box. So
Way to be a double agent.
yeah, so
Way to be promoting the show while you're working for the enemy.
but I mean,
Way to go.
but I just thought,
And how did your
apropos,
announcers handle that?
They handled it because they're not afraid, I don't think, but I think there was a little bit because when they repeat what you say, then it's kind of like maybe they weren't guys, because I said it in DeMarcus and I go, speaking of banners, and he said the same thing. He goes, speaking of banners, and there they are, the majestic shot with the light star filter.
Yes.
And
yours truly came
yeah,
up there.
so
Nice.
Don't hate the player, hate the game.
I'm just trying to tell a story, right?
And your story is fantastic because you're a double agent. And I appreciate that because they don't know you're double, but they know now.
Yeah, they
know
do.
now you're a double agent.
They do.
Yeah, they know
Well,
now.
we've talked about it. Longtime producer for Stacy on the Bulls games,
But
now
they
working
didn't.
for
But
the
Mark,
Milwaukee Bucks.
but they didn't know that. They don't think that way. They think of John because he's in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
He lives there. Yeah. He's devoted to them. And now we've exposed him on Gimme the Hot Sauce podcast that he's a double agent. I'm sorry, Milwaukee. I'm sorry. He's a great guy. He loves you, but he's a double agent.
Yeah,
Don't give any of your secrets. Don't tell us any plays because we'll exploit them.
I'm just covering the game. I like to think of our shows as a national show. We try not to be homers, and I'm just covering the game. I'm just trying to give people.
You and the family are Wisconsinites. Southside Susan living in her palatial estate in Brookfield, Wisconsin.
Yes.
You guys are Wisconsin through and through now.
We are. We're cheeseheads, no doubt about it.
No. Susan's not. Don't even drag her into that. Susan, I'll vouch for Susan on
We're
that
going to
one.
talk about Wisconsinites and cheeseheads a little bit later with her rant, because there was some news that kind of came out right before the NFL draft.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
So we'll get to that.
Quarterback.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
We'll get to the quarterback
to that.
situation.
Well, we're not going to spend a whole lot of time on the Bulls this week because I actually tweeted something out and a guy sent me a gift, said, "Are we still talking about this?"
Wow.
So the fan base is a little bit reckless.
You know what?
Restless,
I
should
came in
say.
here on a positive attitude today, America, and I'm being blindsided by my crew. I'm riding with the Bulls till the wheels fall off, okay? I'm just going to tell you right now, am I a little disappointed that we may not make the playoffs? You're damn right, okay? but I don't jump off the bandwagon.
No,
even though we might have hit an iceberg and the Titanic might be sinking. Okay, I'm not getting off the boat. I'm there with the captain. I'm staying on the ship. Where the rest of these people are getting off with the women and children, and they're men. They're not even supposed to get off. They're supposed to let the ladies and the children off. And some of these people in this room are getting on there with the women and children. I'm not going to say any names.
Well, we've lauded Stacy for being correct on so many of his predictions, but this one you're not going to get right.
Okay, here you go again. Okay, see, America. I came in here with a positive attitude today. I'm looking forward to.
He's got his Hank Aaron hat, looking sharp.
Hank Aaron hat. Yeah, you guys can see.
Yeah.
I come in here. I said, I can't wait to see my boys. We had a little production meeting yesterday. I was falling asleep in the production meeting, but I was laying down. I was laying down, and me and my dogs, we were just chilling, and I was kind of sleeping in the production meeting, kind of like Bill Russell did to me when I went to go when I went out on my visit to Sacramento. At draft time, he went to sleep in the meeting, so I was like, wow.
Not
Bill,
going number one this year.
I'm not going to Sacramento. So I was kind of doing that to our production meeting. But today I was so excited to come in here. I was looking forward to these guys. I have such a blast doing this show with these guys. But today I was blindsided. I wasn't ready for this. Okay, I'm getting hit with throat punches, gut punches. I'm just being attacked, America. So feel sorry for me, okay? Feel sorry for me, please.
Hey, but
please.
Javonte Green looked good last night.
There were some positive notes last night. Yeah. I think what you saw last night is that these guys who are sitting on the bench, who are hungry, they know that they're playing for jobs next year, or a different team.
Right.
And so when they get the opportunity, they're not coming in messing around. And Javonte Green came out. I think the Bulls were down, 18, 20 points. He came in and he was like a plus double digit when he was in the game. He got steals. He was playing defense. He dunked the basketball, showed you some athleticism, which that's one of the areas I feel that this team has to get better at going into next season. Couple things. They've got to get more athletic. They're a young team. They've got to get more athletic. I like to see them run more, transition, get some transition baskets, easier baskets. So when they struggle scoring in stretches, they can get easier baskets in transition. But you got to rebound to get transition.
Right.
Second thing they need to get some dogs. Get some dudes on that bench that play with a chip on their shoulder. The Bulls have always had those kind of guys. Whether it been John Lucas or Nate Robinson. You had Taj Gibson. You had Shaq Harrison and Chris Dunn. They played with an edge and they played with a toughness that you just can't coach. And I think sometimes, the NBA kind of undervalues those type of guys. They look, they don't do anything sexy. Mm-hmm. But what they do bring to your team is they bring a toughness to your team. They bring an attitude. You look at Troy Brown Jr. When he came over from Washington, the complexion of the team defensively changed. He got after guys, and he has that dog in him.
And they've missed him. He's been out the last 7 or 8 games.
Huge
and of
loss.
course, Zach's been out for the last 11.
Huge loss as far as defensively, because you can put him on anybody in the 1, 2, or 3. He can play and he can defend. And so him not being out there is a huge gap, and they haven't been able to fix that. And then you lose 2 All-Stars. Come on.
Yeah.
I mean, you lose your 2 best players to injury and 1 to COVID, and you're struggling right now. And then you're trying to find identity. Guys have an opportunity to step up. You would like to see Lowry to step up in that time. Like, hey, this is my time to shine now. It's late in the season. Two of our stars are out. I got to go out there and do my thing now. I'm going to get an opportunity to show the team like my value. And really hasn't done that. And Kobe's, still a second-year guard. We talk about this all the time. It's going to be ups and downs. But I will give the kid credit.
He can shoot.
I will give the kid credit. He struggled in that first quarter, but then he came in when the game was kind of on the line. He turned it up and he started making plays. He started making plays for his teammates, and he started knocking down shots. Yeah. It's obvious the Bulls need a point guard because I think realistic, just watching him every night, Kobe is a shooter. He's a shooter. He's a scorer. He's a guy, when you watch him shoot the basketball, I mean, it is wide open jump shots. When we talk about, that's something the Bulls need too, guys that can knock down wide open jumpers. He's one of those guys that can do that. So I think they're gonna be in the market for a point guard this year.
Yeah, hard to believe the season has been condensed in such a fashion that you get 3, 4, sometimes 5 games in a week. So there's only 7 games left for the Bulls, and Stacy will be heading on vacation a week from Sunday.
Okay, here we go. Another singer.
singer.
See, here we
No,
go
I'm
again.
saying, I'm saying that's a great thing for you.
No, it's
You've been
not a
working
great
so
thing.
hard all year.
No, it's not. What? That's not a great thing, Shanowski, because I do want to get to the playoffs. Every player should want to get to the playoffs. And I keep saying this, and I will say this to the end. I had this argument the other day in the barbershop, is that, people think that, being the 10th seed is not a good thing. And they're wrong. Getting to the playoffs, whether you're in a 1-game series play-in, is just as important if you're playing in a 7-game series for a young team like the Bulls. They need to understand what you're playing for. You're not playing, their mindset right now. They've been in a mindset the last few years where they've accepted, not winning. They've accepted losing games and not being able to play in the playoffs. They've accepted that. 82 games that's all we play is 82 games. No, there's more than 82 games. There's about 115 to be honest with you, if you count preseason. And then if you go deep in the playoffs, there's over 100 games to play. So they've got to get their mindset to start kicking in like, I'm tired of going home, in April and May. I'm tired of going home. I want to get in this postseason. I want to play in the playoffs. I'm seeing my peers, guys I came in the draft with, they're in the playoffs now. I want to be that guy.
Well, one of the things that revolving around this play-in tournament is some of the established teams and stars don't like it. LeBron James made news earlier this week saying that whoever came up with the idea of the play-in format should be fired. So I don't know how he can fire Adam Silver, but I guess that's what he wants to do. It is a controversial concept in that this year you're playing 72 games. Most years it's 82, and then you could get knocked out in 2 games. And the Lakers, going into last night's action, were tied with Portland. They got a win to edge ahead of them. But to see the defending champions playing for their lives in a play-in format would be good drama for the NBA.
And ratings.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, hey, listen, injuries happen. Everybody has had injuries this year. Everybody's had COVID issues, and the Lakers just had injuries at the wrong time to their 2 key players. And when it's one thing when one of them goes out, because at least you have the other one to try to man the ship. When both those guys went out, that team was decimated. I mean, they were still a good basketball team. I'm not taking anything away from those players. Schroeder's a good player. They had some good. Kyle Kuzma's a good player. But when you lose 2 players like Davis and James, that's like losing 4 to 5 players, because those players mean so much to that team. They're equivalent to having equal like 2 or 3 players each for those people. So it's tough, but I don't feel sorry for them, because at the end of the day, you know what? You got to win games.
Last night he said it on the call how dominant AD is against Jokic, right? And last night he had 25.
Did you see the other thing though?
The block.
They were working on AD's calf all game long. That's got to be troubling for Laker fans, because during the second half, whenever it was a break in the action, he would go over and the trainer would be rubbing his calf.
But they got the win, and they're in the 5th spot. So.
Yeah, but I mean, LeBron's sitting out. He re-aggravated that ankle injury. They could be vulnerable this time.
Well, I mean, listen, if they can come in, listen, no one is healthy, 100% healthy when the playoffs started. Nobody. None of us were 100% healthy. We had little injuries, nagging injuries. But man, the toughness of your mind, the mental toughness that you have to understand what this is all about and what the end game is, you put all that to the side and you get as much treatment as you can, you stretch as much as you can, but going into a playoff series or the playoffs that you're not 100%, but you can't let that be the reason why you get beat. You can't let that be the reason why you struggle in a series because my hamstring or my calf or my toe is hurt. You just can't do that. You just got to play through it. Everyone's going to be hurt. There's not going to be one single person in the playoffs that's 100%.
As of this moment, it'd be the Lakers and the Clippers in the first round, which would be pretty incredible. Have that battle of Los Angeles with all those superstars in round 1. And that's probably when the Lakers would be the most vulnerable, because LeBron and AD are still working themselves back into premium game shape.
I tell you what, and we talked about this in the production meeting. I like the format. I like it and I dislike it. I feel like the best format would be keep it the old way that it's been since the turn of time, with the way the playoffs is. The top 8 teams get in on each conference. And then what you do with the lottery teams, the teams that are going to be in the lottery, you put them in a tournament. You put them in some kind of playoff scenario. And I don't know how you would do it, like as far as like how many games you would play, but I think if you had them playing for something, it takes away the tanking. It takes away anybody trying to lose games on purpose. They don't do that in the NBA. They don't do that, but it would be really nice to see those teams that are playing the playoffs that are not making the playoffs play for the lottery pick. And then however you finish in that little mini tournament is where you draft. And then that way the fan base would get excited about it because they would be playing for something. You're playing for, Cade Cunningham, or you're playing for Suggs. You're playing for the number one pick, and you want one of those guys. You want the top player, Josh Green. You want some of these guys. So if you know your team's in that little playoff, that mini playoff game, whether it be a 3-game series, best 2 out of 3, and then you start slotting teams the way they got knocked out of the tournament. So if you got knocked out at you're the last pick, and so on. Whoever wins is the number one pick. And I think that would be entertaining.
Incentivize winning.
Yeah, you'd want to have those losing teams have some motivation for the latter part of the season.
And they wouldn't be doing 1, 2, 3 Cancun.
Yeah, and they wouldn't be doing buyouts either, maybe, and that would keep the balance.
Might slow that down too, right?
Yeah. See, I mean, Adam Silver, you really want to talk about this format? I'm available. I mean, you don't have to give me credit, but we all know where the idea came from.
Okay.
Yeah, we're talking about injuries. There was a scary scene at the end of a Celtics game where they basically had already lost, but they had their starters in because they were down like 5 or 7 with 30 seconds to go. And Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum collided. They both went down in a heap, and Jaylen Brown had to be helped to the locker room. I think both are going to be okay, but it just goes to show you there's so many stars in the league that are being hurt right now. It's really affected the quality of play as we head down the stretch into the playoffs.
Well, if you're the Boston Celtics, you're a Boston Celtics fan, man, you're holding your breath because, how many more games are going to be missed from your star players? Kemba Walker has been in and out of the lineup. You had Marcus Smart's been hurt this year. You've got, Jaylen Brown's missed some games. Tatum's missed some games due to COVID. So they've never really established the chemistry that they had last year. Are they still a dangerous team if all of them are playing? Yes, they are. Doesn't matter if there's 6, 7, or 8. They're still a dangerous team. But, how much do they have as far as when it comes down to it, all the games missed, the continuity that you need going into a playoff, that you're all in tune to what we're doing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We're all 5 or 6 guys that have been missed a lot of time. Then you got to remember, they lost Tice too. Tice was a big part of what they do defensively.
Yeah, you're starting for him.
And so you got to replace. They haven't really truly replaced him. And so they're going to be coming limping into the playoffs as well.
Yeah, Jason Tatum had 60 points in their overtime win against San Antonio last Friday when they came back from a 32-point deficit. That's the biggest comeback in the NBA this season. Incredible. And Celtic boy, did you know that
Celtic boy
Tatum's 3-game total was the best in franchise history? Beat Kevin McHale?
I didn't know that, but I remember the night when King played against McHale, but I remember McHale like 83, 84. He was so incredibly dominant, but he wasn't a killer like Larry Bird. But he was incredibly dominant. He had 60. I remember watching the game in 60. That guy could have had 60 every night with all those moves that he had. He had the 5 post moves, the up and under, the fadeaway.
I beg to differ.
I'm sorry. You couldn't stop him back then.
I'm going to tell you something.
I'll look up the numbers, but he had
I'm not questioning
run.
his numbers. He was a killer. Kevin McHale was a killer. Kevin McHale was. I'm telling you, I played against the guy. I'm in the battlefield with him.
I'm saying relative to a guy like Larry Bird.
Well, it's
didn't seem like.
But when you could compare, like that's the same thing saying Scotty wasn't a killer with Michael. You know what I'm saying?
He wasn't.
They're all killers in their own way.
But there are assassins.
McHale is a killer, John. He has some of the greatest post moves, and him and Olajuwon are 2 of the best low post players of all time as far as the fundamentals, the moves. You could not stop. Kevin McHale was one of the hardest people to guard because he could score either hand. He was long. Like most people have to jump a little bit to get to the rim. He literally just rolled his arm out there and he'd have 1 foot still on the ground and be laying the ball up. He was so long. But his fundamentals in the post, oh my God, you couldn't stop him.
There was 2 years in a row he was over 60% from the field. 60%.
But you're not going to get a lot of attention when you're the second guy when there's Larry Bird there.
Yeah.
I don't care. Yeah. I don't care who it is. It's the same thing with Michael. Scotty's not going to get the respect and due that he deserves because Michael is the headliner. It's just like Gladys Knight and the Pips. Ain't nobody talking about the Pips. They're talking about Gladys Knight. Oh, Gladys Knight is coming. Gladys Knight's coming to do the show tonight. They're not talking about, hey, the Pips are coming. You know that? No one's talking about the Pips. Okay? And the Jackson 5, no one's really talking about Tito. Okay?
Right.
They were talking about Michael because Michael's the headliner. And then Jermaine, who went off on his own, they were talking about Jermaine Jackson. They weren't talking about Jackie. They weren't talking about Marlon. They weren't talking about Tito. Okay? So that's the same thing in the NBA. You got the headliner gets all the attention, and then the rest of us, we're Tito's. We're Tito's.
I think that's a good point to switch our conversation to football. We got a special guest coming up. We got our friend JB Long of the Los Angeles Rams.
JB,
I keep pushing him back, but
he's waiting in the lobby. He's in the lobby.
Deck.
He's in the Sriracha
Tell us
lobby.
about the Matthew Stafford trade, the NFL draft, and a whole lot. NFL in the Spotlight round coming off a great draft weekend. And it's next on Gimme the Hot Sauce.
Terrible.
To quote the great Stacy King, your comments have not gone unnoticed. Yes.
I just listen. We just got. I was thirsty.
Yes.
Okay. And normally we have beer. We have beer at the night sessions.
This is a morning.
This is a morning session.
Yeah.
So
Don't forget who our sponsors
actually, it's
are.
turned into an afternoon.
I'm just saying. I'm not going to say any. I'm not going to say any names. So I
talk
asked
about
for
how
some.
good it tastes.
I asked for some water. Right. I wanted to get some water.
Angel water's delicious.
And I thought I was gonna get some
Angel
Essentia
water,
water because I'm Essentia. I'm an Essentia man. I love that water. So I thought we had some Essentia bottles here. Whatever. We didn't have Essentia bottle washes, so I tried something else.
It is tough working with divas, isn't it?
It is really tough.
I tried something else.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it was, but whatever it was, not drinking it again.
So, Timmy, you got to get your buddies over at Angel Water to take care of us, right?
It was Angel.
Well, I don't.
Oh, there goes another
she got that out of the
Wait,
faucet.
no. This is
tap water.
This came out of the
Palatine's
faucet.
finest.
No, if it's RO, it's Angel. If it's not, it's
Okay, I need to know what I'm
Barrington's
drinking
best.
because I never drink out the faucet anymore.
Exactly.
Okay, so I need to know what I'm drinking. This could be an
To
assassination.
quote the great Allen Iverson, we're talking about water.
Yeah, we're talking about water.
We got a show getting ready to go.
I'm sorry,
we got a
I'm
guest standing by.
I'm sorry.
He's
Sorry,
in the
JB.
Sriracha waiting room.
All right, JB, come back and
great
come out of the Sriracha waiting
JB
room.
Long, the play-by-play voice of the Los Angeles Rams. And JB, before we start talking a little bit of football, I want to welcome you to a exclusive club. You and I are two proud members of guys who filled in alongside Stacey King in place of the great Neil Funk. So that's a very proud fraternity. We're going to have a reunion meeting and do all kinds of fun things. And I just want to, after working with the King, is there any going back? I mean, can you ever top that?
Well, I don't want to speak for you, but I don't recall him being this high maintenance.
Wow.
Yeah, that must be an Adam Amin effect.
Wow.
Nice.
Oh, that's uncalled for, JB. JB, I'm revoking your check. Your check was in the mail. I'm calling for a recall.
You know what my mind was wandering to? Fans of the show might remember a couple weeks back. Were you guys talking about a pineapple beverage? I can't remember the name of
Proper
it. But you were
12
talking
pineapple.
about-
Proper 12.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, we serve those
Stacey
here.
was talking about needing an Uber to get home, so I'm glad to be able to drive myself today.
Hey, I wasn't lying. Hey, I hit the app. Hey.
He's got a 2-day break. So that's why he's got the beer on
Yes,
now.
Cinco de Mayo, baby. I'm celebrating early. 2 days off. First time I've had 2 days off
Yeah,
since
it's been a while.
March.
You going to get out of the house?
Okay, listen, man. Don't worry about what I'm doing. We're talking to JB Long right here in California, in sunny California, which I wish I was kind of
Go
there
out
hanging
there.
out right now.
They got flights every
Well, I can't
every
go
hour
right now.
from Ohio.
I'm in a playoff race right now.
You're in a playoff race.
I'm in a playoff race
Your
right
team's
now.
12th. What are you talking about? I'm sorry, JB. I'm taking some time.
Okay, this guy's taking
That's all right.
shots.
Just bring Zach Levine back with you on the other side.
See,
of the
look.
two-day
See,
layoff.
that's loyalty. He wants Zach Levine out there. See?
Yeah, that's going to help.
JB, here's my question to you, okay? Working with me, was it the best job that you ever had working with me?
Oh, my God.
Here's my question to you. Let's talk about me.
JB, you were working with a Hall of Famer. I just want to throw that out. I'm an Oklahoma, Hall
He
of
did
Famer.
cover the Olympics, by the way.
I know.
And he's a founding member of the Bleacher Report. So
Okay, I'm not talking about that right now.
I'm talking about JB.
I'm asking JB that he was in the presence of greatness when he worked. Because JB, I'm gonna tell you something. I enjoyed working with JB.
It was great.
JB was fun to work with. We had a great time. I worked with like 25 different people. And that's not being stretched.
And they have to
That's
wear
it.
name tags.
Yeah, and there's certain guys like when I rated them, JB was in my top three.
I really enjoyed working with JB
Yeah.
because it was in Phoenix, and we met for, I don't know where you were, but we met for breakfast, and it was right
Wow,
after
you didn't
Super
invite me.
Bowl.
You didn't invite the black
and
guy.
I got to wear my Belichick hoodie.
Wow.
As I'm sitting there with the Belichick hoodie on, and there comes JB Long after the tough loss to the Patriots.
JB, you notice how he said, I don't know where you were? I was never invited.
No.
I didn't even know there was a breakfast. I didn't even know y'all were meeting. You know, we met separately, but he didn't even invite me to
It was
breakfast.
too early for you.
Wow.
JB?
Don't invite the black guy.
That was pretty
Wow.
representative of my short sample size with Stacy. He didn't make many production meetings that I remember.
Wow. Okay, JB. JB, our friendship is tested right now. You're testing my friendship.
Here I am, and the Chicago Bulls were one of my childhood favorite teams, and this is my first NBA opportunity, and, you know, I'm grinding. I'm preparing as best I can. You know, the Bulls were not in it, but I'm treating it like Game 7 of the finals. And Stacy, you know, comes lumbering in after, I think it was LA first. You got some good people in LA, right? So you had a good time in Los Angeles.
Yes.
And I'm getting ready for this game at Staples. And he's like, Mark, JB, Lisa, whatever your name is, just be ready to go at tip off. And sure enough, we had a good rip.
Man, JB, first of all.
There you go.
First of all.
That's what it's like working with you.
No, first of all, when JB came, I knew JB was good because I did my homework on people. Like, I wanted to know who I was working with, what they do, and we're represented by the same person. No, so
That's
I
right.
knew that. So my guy Alan Sanders, who represents both me and JB, who's one of the best agents in the business. He gave me the 411 on JB before we even met, and then I did some Google search on JB and make sure that he wasn't on America's Most Wanted list or any kind of, you know, police blotters. And once I found out that he was a great, you know, clean cut kid, I enjoyed working with him. He was funny. We had we connected. And like I said, I worked with that year. Man, John, wouldn't you say about 14 or 15 people?
Yeah, the list kept growing, and but I think you had JB in the top.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I mean, you know, Mark was in that list,
Yep.
and Adam, you really enjoyed working with Adam, but yeah, no, JB had some game.
Yeah.
He had some game, man.
He did.
He
It was
still
a lot of
does.
fun.
I'm assuming, and just looking at his amazing resume, you know, and I don't get to listen to him on the radio, but I'm sure he's very entertaining for the Rams radio network.
As long as I'm ranked no lower than second on the JBs. Jason Benetti is ahead of me. I get it. As long as I come in second on the JB initials.
It might have been tied. It might have been a tie because he's local and he was, you know, in the family, you know, with the White Sox.
I will say this in all seriousness, though. I think that's one of the greatest testaments to an analyst that I can think of that I've ever observed, either being a part of. Mark, you can speak to this too, or seeing from afar. I mean, they put you through the ringer, and I mean that in the best way. But Stacy, I think it speaks to your game that to a man and woman, I think we all elevated our performance, our resumes, our experience because of having you in that seat next to us. So.
Well, I appreciate that. I'm going to continue to send your check now. I just called Fellow Express to hold it, but I'm sending it out to you, JB. So it's going to be out there sometime in the next 5 years.
And we got Oklahoma. We got the connection. I still got my Tulsa, Oklahoma area code on my cell phone. And you're all
yeah!
now, so long overdue. Congratulations.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. It's a great honor. And, you know, like I said, it's one of those things that you never think of when you're a kid. You never think you're going to be part of something like that. And then when it happens, it just kind of blows you away. I thought you had to, like, you know, in Oklahoma, you know, a lot of people say, oh, you should have been there earlier. You know, so I joked with the guy when he gave me the announcement. I said, "Hey, man, I thought I had to die to get in." I was like, man, I thought I was pretty good. I thought I was a pretty good representation of Oklahoma. I thought I should have been in a little bit earlier. I thought I had to die. He's like, "You're really funny." I said, "No, I'm being serious. I'm not laughing on this end of the phone, brother. I'm being serious."
Hey, JB, let's talk a little football. Obviously, it's been a very active offseason in the NFL, and the Rams are right in the middle of one of the first big moves with the trade sending Jared Goff to the Lions and bringing in Matthew Stafford. How's that been received out on the West Coast?
Well, it's a high price to pay, right? And Jared Goff was the first pick of my era with the Los Angeles Rams, and he was wonderful to me. Did a lot of amazing things in this community off the field. And his performance on the field was, you know, responsible for some of my greatest career experiences as well. So it was tough to see Jared go, although I understand the motivation behind upgrading at the game's most important position, you know, quarterback, the most important position in all of sports. And I think to get Stafford now at this juncture of his career, where he's still probably got hopefully 4, 5, 6 prime years with some of his peers playing into their 40s and coming in with a specific intention to win a championship, to do something that he hadn't had the opportunity to do in Detroit, I think is thrilling. It comes at a time where the Rams window, they feel like, is wide open too. I mean, if you think about how many more defensive player of the year caliber seasons does Aaron Donald have left at age 30? History says only a couple. Now, he may blow that out of the water. I hope he does. But while you have Ramsey and Donald kind of rushing cover tandem as good as they get in the league, I think you have to do everything you can, push all of your chips in to make sure that you got the best quarterback that you can find.
When you talk about the Rams defense, I mean, Aaron Donald, I mean, is probably the most dominant lineman that I've seen since, Reggie White, and how you remember how dominant Reggie White was. But man, this kid looks like, nobody on the field can block him. I mean, even double team, triple, he just beats it. Is he that amazing? Because we see him like once a week, but you see him all the time. You cover their games. Is he really that good?
Well, Sean McVay likes to say consistency is the truest measure of performance. And Aaron is one of the most consistent athletes in any sport that I've had the pleasure of observing. And I think his work ethic supersedes his talent. And that's why he is who he is. King, I like to say that Aaron is never playing the guy across from him. He's not even playing his position. He's playing Canton. He is playing Canton, Ohio. That is who he compares and measures himself against. And if he doesn't go down as the greatest defensive player, whether it's Reggie or whoever you want to choose, I think he'll be personally disappointed. He's well on his way. If he has the health and the longevity, I think he'll very much be in that short list, that conversation for the greatest NFL defensive players we've ever seen. And I'll also point out he's doing it, well, two things. He's doing it from the interior, right? He's not an edge rusher, but he's putting up edge rusher type numbers in terms of pressures. And he's doing it in an era of the National Football League that's tailored to offense. And so I think there's a case to be made that he is the most valuable defensive piece in the entire sport because of what he can do to disrupt the way the game is built to succeed right now.
Hey, getting back to the quarterback position, your head coach, Sean McVay, and then the coach here in Chicago with the Bears, Matt Nagy, both were hired because of their extensive background as being some, quarterback whisperers, guys that could develop quarterbacks. And yet in their first crack at it, they failed. Jared Goff was sent on to Detroit. Mitchell Trubisky didn't work out in Chicago. Now they drafted Justin Fields. What does that say about the difficulty in developing a young quarterback in that two guys who were hired specifically for that purpose struggled so much at their first attempt at it?
Well, I'll let you speak to the Bears portion of it, but I'm not willing to concede that Jared Goff was a failure in his experiment here in Los Angeles. If anything, I think Sean McVay took him from 0-7 under Jeff Fisher in his first year, starting at the back end of his rookie campaign, and built him into a two-time Pro Bowler and the youngest NFC champion in quarterback history. So it didn't work out in the end. I think the problem from Jared's standpoint is that from that NFC championship game in New Orleans, when he was sensational in 2018, he didn't take another big step forward. We know it didn't happen in the Super Bowl when the Rams didn't score a touchdown. His two subsequent seasons were probably regressive. And the Rams, I think, given the dynamics we touched on already, felt like having a chance to improve at that position. They were willing to pay the capital, both in terms of money and draft selections, to keep this championship window alive.
When you're going into the draft, this year, what was the needs that the Rams actually needed to shore up to get better at? Because you see, the Cardinals are going to get better. They're getting better. You've got, Seattle now, they've got their quarterback situation kind of rectified with Russell Wilson now going to stay there. How did the Rams get better in the draft?
Well, it's a good question, especially in the context of the division, right? Because I think there are 4 potential playoff teams there, and at least 3 of them, Seattle, San Francisco, Los Angeles, would be extremely disappointed with anything shy of a division title in the NFC Championship. It's interesting you asked what the needs were, because clearly the answer was different internally than it was externally. I think in a deep offensive line draft class, everyone, fan base, analysts included, were expecting the Rams to invest in their offensive line. They did not. In fact, they've only spent 1 draft pick in the last 2 springs, and that was a deep 7th rounder on their offensive line. So they're kind of doubling down on that position group. And what I think the focus was in retrospect is getting more vertical, is stretching defense, keeping the top shelf of defenses more honest. Because if you look at kind of the back end of Jared's and the Rams 2020 campaign, they were not scaring defenses, and their playbook had been pared down to a point where it was almost predictable. And I know Sean McVay did not like being boxed in to that extent. So to take a 5'7", 4'3" speed demon like Tutu Atwell while maybe not necessarily what the fan base was looking for, I think speaks to the desire and the intention and the plan for this offense moving forward so that they can get back towards 30-point per game levels, trusting that their defense, which led the league in points allowed last year, is going to deliver on their promise as well.
All right, Stinger, I know you're dying to ask about the Patriots.
No, I'm not going to go back and ask about the Patriots, but I think he made the point, like he never progressed after that game. I mean, the Patriots figured out what he did when he turned his back. They changed coverage. You know, maybe he needed to have a little more control at the line of scrimmage, and it was textbook Belichick. And, I mean, it was a dominant defensive performance on both sides of the ball. You know, he mentioned, Aaron Donald, but he did.
Stinger, just to interrupt real quick, because this will hit home for you too. Brian Flores was the defensive coordinator in Atlanta for that Super Bowl. He goes down to Miami, as we know, and that might have been one of the breaking points for the Jared Goff era in Los Angeles, I think, turning it over 4 times in that game, unable to defeat Tua Tagovailoa in his first NFL start. I think that's where the realization started to arrive that he might not be the guy to take them back to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but I really want to ask you about SoFi Stadium, because having I worked for the Raiders.
Little Molly.
Al Davis once asked me if I wanted to be on special teams, but that's another story.
Oh, no.
But you were at the Coliseum, and I worked at the Coliseum, and I know that was years beyond where it should be. But SoFi Stadium, the first indoor-outdoor, it looks so incredible on TV, and I'm sure the fans are dying, but just give us you've probably been there, and what's it like?
Well, I'm not sure that anything with a $5 billion price tag can exceed expectations, but if anything can, and it's unparalleled, SoFi Stadium does. I mean, its location is pristine. What they did in terms of foresight and intention is just magnificent. I think it's going to be the best sporting venue in the world. It already is, but the reason I say it's going to be is because it hasn't hosted 70,000 to 100,000 fans yet. Yeah. And that was the real disappointment for all of us last year in a lot of different respects, but specific to what should have been its opening season. Now you kind of kick it off in what will be a Super Bowl year for SoFi. And I'm taking solace in this, Stinger, which is I've gotten a chance to enjoy it vacant, empty, and it's sensational. But now every week I'm going to get a chance to live it through someone else's eyes and experience, right? Our season ticket holders just got in there and sat in their seats for the first time and kind of walked the building and see their jaws drop. My wife, my sons have not yet been in there. So I feel like there's going to be many years, probably all the way down through the Olympics, when they kind of tie the Coliseum and SoFi Stadium together. That'll just be these little touch points where it's like, wow, not only was this the best of its kind when it was finally constructed, but it's held up over time as well.
Whispers, you want to ask him if he's had any celebrity encounters in Los Angeles like you?
Well, you can tell the story, JB, if you have met some of these people, but I'm going to leave that alone for right now.
Going back to a recent episode where he talked about some of his celebrity encounters. Was that in a bathroom or what?
He met Ron Jeremy. And Sylvester Stallone, but he was more enamored with Ron Jeremy. He had the nerve to say he saw more Ron Jeremy films than Sylvester Stallone films.
It's true.
And the first thing, tell him what you said to him when you met him, Tim.
Oh, come on.
Leave that alone.
Leave that alone.
We don't need to go there.
Hey, JB, you went to Notre Dame. What's your background in terms of where you grew up, and what's it like being out in LA now?
Sure. Well, I was born here in Los Angeles, was raised mostly in Northern California on the peninsula, kind of near Stanford University. But I'm from a long line of Golden Domers. Both my parents went there, many aunts and uncles as well. And so it was always kind of in the back of my mind. But I would say when it came to time to evaluate colleges, I kind of put it on the back burner, wanting to blaze my own trail. And then as a high school senior, I went and observed a football weekend in the fall. And it was one of the spectacular ones that fools you in terms of what South Bend is actually like in terms of climate. And I kind of came to the realization, like, who am I kidding? Like, I was about to be a burnt out, high school jock with a desire to find a way to stay connected to sports, and that kind of raw game day environment was exactly what I was looking for. I went to an all boys high school. So Notre Dame kind of had this single sex dorm situation going on for the on-campus living. Not that I was seeking that out necessarily, but it seemed to kind of be a through line for me in terms of what I was comfortable with and in creating that jocular atmosphere.
I want to go back to talking about football and the guy I want to talk about is Jalen Ramsey. And, you know, you follow him. I've always been a big fan of him. He talks the talk, but he walks the walk. And is probably one of the most physical corners in the NFL. Like, do teams actually stay away from him like they used to do Deion Sanders? I mean, because of his cover skills?
That's a great comp. And I kind of grew up watching a lot of those Dallas, San Francisco rivalry games. And so that Deion one is poignant to me. I think he has some of those elements. I think the rules have changed and the offense have changed to the extent that you don't typically ignore half a field anymore. But there have been some moments, including against DK Metcalf and the Seahawks, that come to mind. Against Nuke and the Cardinals is top of mind as well, where he can take a future, Hall of Fame receiver in some instances and make him disappear. And what I loved about the way they utilized him last year, Brandon Staley was a first-year NFL defensive coordinator for the Rams last year. Now he's the head coach of the Chargers. He made sure to invest in Jalen Ramsey and articulate his vision for how he would be utilized to make sure that he was okay with being more than just a shutdown corner. At times he was playing in the slot. At times he was playing more of a safety hybrid linebacker role. Like, they utilized him as a chess piece. And I think Jalen bought into that as, hey, this is how my value can be maximized. And sure, there's going to be some moments where I get to like lock horns with Golden Tate and kind of deliver some of that attitude that you're talking about, Stacy. And there's going to be other days where I'm content having the afternoon off and taking away a side of the field like Deion used to. And if my Pro Football Focus grade suffers because of that, I'll just laugh it off.
I want to ask you about, I'm pretty versatile. I've done water polo and lacrosse and all these softball. I'm a big softball guy, but you have done fencing, synchronized swimming, and modern pentathlon for the Olympics. Tell me which one of these is harder to do.
Well, actually, fencing is only my only true Olympic experience. I understand why that's out there. Here's the backstory on that. I was all set to go to Rio and do those three. And then about 3 weeks prior, I actually got the Rams job. And so while NBC is in business with the NFL and they get what that's all about, they weren't about to have to backfill my position so that I could kind of, jet back and forth from the NFL preseason to cover my first Olympics on air. So I actually had to give that up, unfortunately. My apologies to NBC Sports, although with Costas and the rest of the gang, it seems like they've made it through okay. I would love to be involved in that mix moving forward. But fencing has kind of been my baby. I was in Tampa at the time. I had worked the Athens Olympics as a college student because I was a dorm mate of Charlie Ebersol, Dick Ebersol's son, and was in the finance pipeline at the time and was probably trying to get off of that ship. And so I kind of finagled a spot in Athens. I worked with Mike Breen, with Annie Myers, with the late Craig Sager, with Doug Collins. And I kind of came back to campus in South Bend saying, who am I kidding? This is what I really want to do. Yeah. So all that to say, fast forward to living in Tampa in 12, that would have been the London Olympics. And I was, trying to cut my teeth and make some progress in my career. And I wanted to find a way back to the games. And so I picked a sport that I didn't think anyone else in the American broadcasting space was trying to excel at. And that was fencing. And I figured if I could make it my own, I might be able to convince someone to take a shot on me to do fencing for future games. And lo and behold, I've been able to do some world championships and cover some NCAA championships. None of that is your concern. Or
Can you
care,
give us a call? Give us a little call, like a little play-by-play?
It's actually it's like tennis. It's more just kind of keeping your mouth buttoned and reacting because it's very quiet. It's very tense. It's a combat sport. But it doesn't have the peak energy of UFC. It's more about the clash of the blade and interpreting the.
Do they actually stab? Do they actually stab each other?
Well, that's why they wear the all white. Is because the scoring used to be who draws blood first, right? If I see red on your uniform, I know I got you. But now it's all electrified, and so that the lights pop up, and it happens in the blink of an eye. It's a pretty cool deal.
Man, that would be pretty cool to call. I'd be like, oh, he just stabbed him.
Give me the hot sauce.
No, I wouldn't say give me the hot sauce. What's the sword called? What's the little sword called?
There's different kinds.
Like what?
It's a foil. Yeah, Mark's right.
Foil,
there's an epee, there's a foil, there's a saber.
Okay.
Saber's kind of the big slashing one.
Give me the saber.
Yeah.
Give me the saber. See, I would say some stuff like that.
I'd see you in all white out
Wimbledon
there.
white.
Yeah,
Wimbledon white.
It is a color.
Yeah, that sounds. Hey, JB, do you know about Wimbledon white?
Like you're only allowed to wear white in London?
See, that's what we all thought.
No, it's the color.
but it's an actual color
you know-
that Stinger came up with when he was.
I didn't come up with
18 years old.
My
and he
dad, that
decided-
was the color of my '68 Cougar. It was Wimbledon white.
Wimbledon
there are certain
white.
variances, shades of white in Wimbledon white.
He was born in a castle. That's why he says those things.
I was not born in a castle, JB.
Home white and there's Wimbledon white.
Wimbledon white.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Wimbledon
yeah,
white.
yeah. He's cultured. We're not cultured. Me and Mark and the rest of the people in there. We're all from the other side of the track. We weren't born in a castle.
Well, you got to pass me too, and it's not just because this Moderna dose 2 is running me ragged up and down the floor this morning.
Oh, you shouldn't say that because Stacy and Whispers are going for their second
Wait
shot
a minute.
on Saturday.
You got a shot?
He got Moderna though. You're getting Pfizer.
Oh,
Is this your second one or first one?
I got my second one, 9 a.m. LA time yesterday, and went to bed feeling, a little something, and woke up completely pancaked.
Oh wow!
Oh, okay. Well,
There you go, King.
Well, let me just tell you this.
Whispers
He's
is
got
going
a
to try to
couple
slide
days
through
off,
those
right?
red Band-Aids.
But I told my wife, I said, hey, you got to help me out. You got to take the kids. I got to give me the hot sauce.
Oh, JB.
There's a trooper.
JB, hey man, you're a trooper.
I didn't go on eBay and spend $19 for my own bottle.
Oh, we would have sent you one for free,
I was going to
baby.
send you, because you in the waiting
Yeah.
room.
We have a lovely gift package ready for you.
Wait a minute, it cost $19? Are you
No,
kidding?
Hey, listen, don't worry about what
Shipping out to California.
it's
It's
shipping
a
to
bargain
California.
at any price.
Exactly. Okay. But anyway, hey JB, I'm
I
gonna
wanna
tell
see
you,
Stacy, box it up, table it up, walk it over to the post office himself.
JB. Let me just tell you something.
That ain't happening.
That is happening, JB. Let's go back to the Moderna shot. Okay, got me a little
he's
nervous there,
nervous
brother. So me and Timmy Whispers are going on Saturday to get our second Pfizer shot. Now the first Pfizer shot, I was fine. I just was exhausted. Timmy Whispers got knocked out. He got a temperature
On the
body-
first one.
Yeah, on the first one, which is under. See, we came together, and so you know how you got to fill out the information, get the QR code, and all that stuff. So they ask you a question. They say, what nationality are you? Black, white, Indian, whatever. I put white. So I go there because I want to make sure I got good medicine. So
Yeah.
I go there. I
we
go
gotta
there with
put up
Timmy.
with JB.
I go with Timmy Whispers. So they think that Timmy's me. So he went in the 15. I went to 16, and Tim was the one that got sick. I didn't get sick, so yeah, I got the good
They'll
medicine.
get you this time, though.
They're not gonna give me this time.
No, they know you. They're onto your game now.
I'm gonna dress up. I'm gonna be like Dave Chappelle. I'm gonna come in all colored up and have my makeup on. I'll be white. They won't know.
Richard Pryor, you mean I'm not white?
Yeah, exactly. JB, man, I'm so glad to see you, brother. I hope you feel better. You look like you look good though. You don't look like you had a Moderna attack. You look good.
I tried to time the Tylenol just right, and then I spent 45 minutes in the waiting room thinking
Yeah, the
about
sriracha
it. So,
waiting
Yeah,
room.
man.
People have gone to die in the sriracha waiting room.
Yeah, we have let some people. We let some people die in there. That's Stinger's fault because Stinger's always harassing people.
Hey, JB, we appreciate you being such a good sport, especially after getting that second vaccine
Wow.
injection and dealing with this rambling interview. But best of luck in
Wow,
your career
Mark.
with the Los Angeles Rams.
Walter Cronkite over here.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's good to see all of you. I wouldn't pass on it. And hey, the Bears are on the schedule. They're coming to SoFi Stadium. So they're tied all together.
Yeah, get
Let's
ready
hope
for
that-
Justin Fields, baby.
Let's go. SoFi, LA?
Yeah.
When's the game?
Road
we
trip.
don't know. Road trip.
Yeah.
We'll
The schedule
find out
comes out May 12th.
Is that in the budget?
A week from Wednesday. The
Is
schedule.
Is that in the
Yeah.
budget? Is that in the budget?
Well,
If you keep selling
talk
some
to
of
our
that hot
friends at
sauce.
Bubble Up.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay,
talk to our friends at
Bubble up.
Just,
Bubble
just
up.
make sure Stacey King gets some good accounting advice. All these new revenue streams, I'm a little bit worried about.
Hey, keep that
Yeah,
to
the tax
yourself,
man.
baby. Keep that to
The tax
yourself, baby.
man's
Keep that
coming.
to yourself. They're coming after me, baby. All because you just said that.
The corporate tax is going up.
I'm getting all cash, baby. All cash. Can't track it.
You just told the whole world.
JB, I think you want to get out of here now. Thank you so much for joining us on Gimme the Hot Sauce.
Good
We
seeing you,
appreciate it.
bud.
Best of luck with the Los Angeles Rams. We'll be following your career as it continues to move onward and upward. Thanks again.
All right, good finish for the Bulls as well. See you guys.
Saucy.
We We want to thank JB Long for putting up with all our nonsense here on Gimme the Hot Sauce. He was a good sport as we went all over the map trying to figure out some intelligent questions to answer. Some of us succeeded. Many of us failed. But one source who did not fail is the Chicago Bears. There's been a lot of negativism in the fan base saying, with this current front office and coaching staff, we're not getting anything done. But yet now, all of a sudden, people are jumping back on board because the quarterback of the future is in place. Ryan Pace traded up to get the 11th pick in the NFL draft and got Justin Fields from Ohio State. We're going to go rapid fire now and talk about some of the big stories in the draft. And I know, Stacy, you talked about the fact you thought Justin Fields should have gone 3 to San Francisco. So getting him at 11 for the Bears, that's pretty exciting for the fans.
Well, I think those teams that passed on Justin Fields are going to be in the same situation as the Bears was when they passed on, Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson. They're going to be wishing they had him. I think that kid has the it factor. I think he's built for this. I think he's going to have a chip on his shoulder. You could just tell he looked so mad the entire time as it got past 3, 4, 5. You could just see in his eyes that he was really ticked off, and he's got something to prove. He'll play with a chip on his shoulder. So I think the Bears got a good one.
Now, their plan is to have Andy Dalton start the season as the number 1 quarterback and let Justin Fields learn his ropes in the NFL. That's what Kansas City did with Patrick Mahomes. He didn't start till week 16 or week 17 of his rookie season, and we saw what he turned out to be. Do you think that's a prudent plan to let the kid learn a little bit watching a veteran play?
Yeah, I think so. It all depends, but you got to remember, there's a lot of people's jobs on the line. At the end of the day. So there's not a lot of time to sit there and let him grow and develop in their eyes, because their job, they did a great thing by drafting him, but their body of work still shows that they have something to prove. And so you wonder, how long are they going to, if they get off to a slow start and they start off 0-3, 0-5, how long is it before they put this kid in there and say, hey, listen, let's go out there and show him what we got and why we drafted you so high, and then let him play. And then, maybe that saves somebody's job.
And they're going to have a couple new offensive tackles because Bobby Massey was let go earlier for salary cap reasons, and then Charles Leno Jr. was dropped just
That's
the other day.
That's going to be a concern.
So now they drafted Tevin Jenkins, an offensive tackle from Oklahoma State, and then a young guy from Missouri as well. Those guys are going to be pushed into play real early, and they're going to be, their responsibility is making sure that Justin Fields stays upright.
That's the whole key. Trubisky never was safe. Never. Running for his life. As soon as he hiked the ball, it's like when you used to play football and you had to count 1,001, 1,002.
One Mississippi,
before you rushed the quarterback. That's how it was for Trubisky.
Yeah.
And so this kid here, you cannot have him have failure based on the fact that he has no protection.
Right.
You've got to protect this kid. The good thing about him is, compared to Trubisky, is that he will take off and run. He will move, and he will move in the pocket. He will keep his eyes downfield, and he will make the throws necessary out of the pocket. So that you have that going for him, but you still got to protect him.
I've told a story before that my kids, one of them went to Ohio State, one of them went to Michigan. So my daughter, who went to Ohio State, immediately texted me going, I'm getting a Justin Fields Bears jersey. I'm doing it right away. And my son, who went to Michigan and just hates Ohio State, said he's going to get a Justin Fields jersey too. So that united the family. Justin Fields bringing the Shanowski kids together.
That's awesome.
So
Good for you,
I
Mark.
appreciate
Good for
that
you.
added
You
benefit.
couldn't do it, but Justin.
No, somebody's got to do it right.
The parents can do it.
The Bears saved the family.
Way to go.
Cue the rifles.
All right, hold on here. Yeah,
Oh, I thought they were on demand. And a lot of people thought that the man with the hoodie, Bill Belichick, would trade up and maybe get a Justin Fields, but he sat at 15, and I guess they got the guy they wanted in Mac Jones.
Well, you never know, but they certainly like his intelligence. He had a 4.0, and he's got the body type of a Tom Brady.
Before.
Right, which once again, we're not selling jeans, we're winning
That's right.
championships. And
Yeah.
I got my boy Troll sent me a photo of all the beautiful quarterbacks, and there's Mac Jones. But it's same situation, I think. Better offensive line New England than Chicago. Cam Newton's a better option than Andy Dalton, so he'll probably have a year or two to figure things out, which will be perfect for him. And they got weapons, and we'll see. We'll see if the dynasty continues.
Well, these quarterbacks are going to be compared for a lot of years, just like we talked about the class with Mahomes and Watson and Trubisky. Now you've got those guys at the top with Trevor Lawrence and Zach Wilson. And Stacy, I think that Justin Fields could be as good as any of them because he has the physical traits that what you're looking for in the modern NFL. As you mentioned, the escapability, the ability to run with the football, I think is going to make him stand out, maybe right up there with Trevor Lawrence.
Listen, the kid, everywhere he's been, has been a stud. high school. You watch that QB1 and that documentary. I watched that. I'm a big fan of that show. I thought he had the it factor then. He went to Georgia. He was really he should have beaten. They should have gave him the job over Fromm.
Yeah.
Fromm, the only reason why Fromm was still there because he took him to the national championship game against Alabama as a freshman. But Justin Fields was clearly better than Fromm, and they didn't put him out there. And so the kid got frustrated and realized he's probably going to sit behind this guy for 3 years and not get an opportunity to play. So he made the right move. He went to Ohio State. I know Oklahoma was in the running for him at a time because we always get those quarterbacks in the portal. We've been known to resurrect guys' careers. We've done that. So, but he went to Ohio State, played in a tough conference. I don't care what anybody says about Big Ten. They've got some really good teams in the Big Ten.
Well, Northwestern had 2 guys drafted in the first round.
Yeah,
So
first time it's ever happened.
Yeah, first time it's ever happened. So you can see that the talent was there in the Big Ten. He made some incredible throws. A lot of these guys, they go to these pro days, and that's where they kind of make, people fall in love with them. And he had a second pro day. And the first one was pretty good, but the second one blew everybody away. And I know deep down they had to be split in San Francisco between Trey Lance because you got based on his level of competition, and compared to what Fields played under, they're both typically the same. Now Lance may be a better runner. A better option type guy, and that's what San Francisco wants to run because you had that RG type of RG3 offense in Washington, and that's what Shanahan really likes to really run. You can't do that with Jimmy G because he can't move. Right. Now you got a quarterback can actually throw the ball, but actually run options and keep defenses honest and get move the chains. And I think that's the reason why they went with Trey Lance.
You got the rifles ready? The big story of the NFL draft was something that happened before they even started making picks, and that was the news out of Green Bay that Aaron Rodgers no longer wants to be a member of the Packers. He was unhappy with them drafting Jordan Love and not communicating that to him a year ago, and now he's really playing the diva route, saying that, I'm never going to play in Green Bay again. There's talk that he wants the general manager fired for having the gall to draft a quarterback while he was on the roster. So we want to ask Southside, what's it been like at the Piggly Wiggly? Have people been coming up to you in the grocery store and saying, what's going on with Aaron Rodgers?
They are not happy, and I'm enjoying every second of it, and I can't wait to buy an Aaron Rodgers jersey.
For his next team?
And I'm going to wear it and just rub it in.
Just rub it in.
I heard something today on the radio that they're saying that most of the fan base in Wisconsin is in favor of the Packers, saying that they should hold the line and that Aaron Rodgers is wrong in what he's trying to do here.
It's hard for me to judge because I'm just not objective. I think he's a diva, and I think it's bad form and unprofessional, but I don't know. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun.
My unofficial survey of bartenders and the meat counter guy,
and
radio host, they're all in the favor of
Green Bay. Absolutely.
Yeah. But the similarities between the Brett Favre situation and this one are unbelievable.
That's right.
Yes,
Southside
it's very similar.
Yeah. Minnesota.
And listen, I mean, if you're Aaron Rodgers, the same scenario, it's the same playbook. Why are you surprised?
Yeah, that's how he got there.
Well, that's how you got the starting job. So, and you saw how they treated Brett Favre. He even told you that when you have opportunity to leave here. Yeah. And then now here you see it replaying itself out. You got a young quarterback behind him. But the difference, though, between Favre and Rodgers is that you got a reigning MVP.
Yeah.
That's a big difference there. I mean, I love Brett Favre. But Favre wasn't MVP level anymore. This guy was the MVP of the NFL last year, and now you're talking about leaving. He's a two-time,
two straight NFC Championship games too. So for his thought too is they've only drafted 3 offensive players, one of them being him, and 2 offensive linemen. So the draft hasn't provided any help for him. And they moved up to get Jordan Love. So
no, but they're playing the long game. I mean, they've played that. What was our ratio with the Bears? 28 quarterbacks to 2.
Yeah, crazy.
They need a depth chart. He might still be an MVP, but they need to start cultivating a depth chart, and that's their sauce.
I would agree. I would agree. You do have to have someone behind him because he is getting up in an age, but he's still playing at a high level. Okay, and if you look at that Green Bay Packer team, the last 5 years, man, he's pretty much put them on his back and carried them to success that they've had. They put a wide receiver at running back. Come on now.
But how long did he sit?
Yeah, come on now. How many people do that?
Right. How long did he sit behind?
Well, he
Brett
said
Favre?
he said
3
like
years.
3 years.
3 years.
So
And he was very injury prone because I remember he came in a game against, New England. He broke his ankle, Aaron Rodgers. So there was a question about his durability early on.
But that you can't question someone on a broken ankle. You know, you can question somebody's durability if they're constantly missing with muscular injuries, hamstring pulls and stuff like that. But when somebody gets their ankle broke, but to this guy's point, he's the reigning MVP. And you look at the roster that they put around them. They've let some of their superstar players go. Their defense is not the same as it used to be. The offense, he has one playmaker, Devontae Adams. Everybody else is dropping passes. You know, he hits guys in the hands and they drop passes, 3rd and 10, and he throws a dart to someone, they drop the pass.
It's fun to watch.
And it's fun if you're a Bears fan. But for the Packers fans saying, having a negative opinion about that, shame on them, because the guy's been playing and giving you everything he's got, just like Favre did, and they did. The fans really didn't turn on Favre like they're doing on him though.
Yeah,
Not
well,
to-
he's
not
not.
to
He's
Minnesota.
not.
Yeah. You didn't hear when Favre was leaving and how that marriage broke. There wasn't a lot of people dissing Brett Favre.
Yep.
They're like, oh man, we wish he could have worked it out. Yada.
Yep.
But it's amazing to hear the negative energy that's coming out of Green Bay about Aaron Rodgers. It's almost like he never was accepted for the fan base.
Brett Favre spent a lot of time in a lot of different establishments across the state of Wisconsin to earn that right.
Yeah.
But we're always about predictions. So what's going to happen?
He's going to sit out. He's going to force their hand. I think he's dead set on sitting out. I don't think he's going to play. I think he will sit out and he will pass and force them, because you got to remember, they told him they were going to trade him.
Right.
They told him, we're going to trade you in the offseason. And then they came back and they kind of reneged on it. No, we're going to keep you because maybe they found out that Justin Love is not really ready to go yet. So it's like, let's hold on to him another year. Sure. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm telling you, because
that's
they see this guy every day.
The guaranteed money's gone, right?
Yeah. And they see this kid. And I'm not saying Justin Love's not a good quarterback and won't be a good quarterback. We don't know anything about him. We haven't seen him. But the one thing that organizations have over fans is they see these guys every single day. Yep. You see him come in the building. You see the work ethic. You see him in the quarterback's room. You see him in all elements that no fans get to see. And so if you don't think a guy's ready, you are sitting there saying, well, we got the reigning MVP here, so why are we worrying about it? He could sit another year.
Right.
Yeah.
And then Aaron Rodgers' feelings was hurt because you're like, wait a minute. You drafted this guy, and I still had 5-6 years left of good football. Then you're basically going to kick me to the curb, and you tell me you're going to trade me in the offseason to promote this kid. And now you realize he's not ready, and so now you want to come back to me. Now you want to come back with the girl that you brought to the dance, but I'm going home with someone else. I'm not going home with you. I'm going home with someone else. You missed out, and that's kind of how it's playing out.
That's true.
I can't believe he's going to sit out, though. I mean, that just goes against everything. I mean, he's 37, right? He's going
38. Yeah, he can host Jeopardy.
Well, yeah.
Got the trial run this summer.
Well,
he's made a lot of money, man.
How much that guy loves to play football.
Tom
Brady will say it every time. I love throwing the football.
Well, Tom Brady is a different animal. I mean, that's why Tom Brady defers money to help his teammates and stuff. You don't find guys like that anymore. The quarterback position to me is, they're the highest paid person on the team. And then, when they get this money, like Russell Wilson, he gets all this money. Oh, I want the highest contract, da-da-da. And then you cry when you don't have players around you. We don't have enough talent. We don't have enough linemen. Well, of course you don't, because you took all the money. Like, how are they supposed to get a good offensive lineman, a left tackle that you need, someone to protect your backside when the quarterback makes all the money? And then you got defensive players like a guy like Donald, as we were talking to JB Long earlier. Donald is consistently the best defensive player in the game. Should be paid quarterback money with the impact that he makes in the game. But he will never make that type of money. Only quarterbacks can make that type of money, which is, to me, a joke.
Well, Aaron Rodgers will definitely be in the Hall of Fame one day, but our guy Stacey King's already in the Hall of Fame, and we're going to be joined by a couple of his former teammates as we wrap up things on episode 27 of Gimme the Hot Sauce.
Let it go. Sriracha. sauce.
Yeah, it's time for one of our favorite segments on the down low. We started the show by congratulating our buddy Stacy King on his induction into the Oklahoma Sports Hall of Fame. And now we want to bring in a couple of guys who know him even better, and they're going to dish a little dirt on the King. Stacy, handle the introductions for us.
First of all, they're not going to dish any dirt. They're my friends, okay?
Oh, all right.
Okay, you're always trying to come between. There's going to be some furniture moving here before it's all over said and done. America, let me introduce you to two of my greatest friends, two of my college teammates that we are still friends to this day. We got in the right corner there, you see the guy with the Oklahoma T-shirt. I'll show the shirt, Jason. Show how proud you are to be a Sooner. There it is right there.
Nice.
See? Yeah. Okay, there's that shirt right there he's had for 25 years. It still looks good. That's Jason Skrzinski, a.k.a. Ski. Okay? He was a 3-point specialist that didn't shoot threes. And he was an all-state player at Bartlesville, and was a heck of a player. Just was a lot of fun in college. We had a lot of fun together, and just a great guy. And I'm glad that we're still friends to this day. And then on the bottom screen is my best friend. He was my best man at my wedding, Tony the Hawk Martin. We were roommates in college. We were roommates on the road. We've had some fun stories, some fun.
Oh, you were telling one of those stories.
That's rated R story. Rated R story.
Yeah,
we got to keep a happy home. But we had so much fun. These guys, we traveled. We went to a lot of different places. Yeah, it was just a lot of fun. And I'm glad to have these guys on as we have this segment, Friends of the Program, Friends of the Show, to come on. And, John's had friends on the last 12 weeks. And so it's time for someone else to mix it up. So I'm going to bring my boys on. So, America, these are my boys right here. Go ahead and talk, fellas.
Thank you for having us, King. We appreciate it, man.
I was getting ready to say this.
Yeah, thanks, Stacy. I miss seeing you. I see you at least once a year when you come out to Denver, with the Bulls, and obviously that didn't happen last year. So good to see you on the video, and also catching up like we do via text and video. By the way, Stacy's one of my only friends that called me on my birthday last week. So that was a big deal. Thank you.
See, that's true friendship. I'm loyal. I'm loyal like that, okay? Jason, Thank you. You know what? I would have called you if you was on the moon. Okay, you're my boy. Okay, happy birthday. It's over, but happy birthday.
Yep.
Thanks to Facebook. You got that alert.
Yeah, I did.
All right. How do you remember?
You know what, Hawk? That's uncalled for right there. See, it wasn't a Facebook alert, first of all. I got it on my phone and my calendar. It lets me know all my friends' birthdays so I don't miss it, okay? So, you know what? Your comments are not going unnoticed, okay?
We spent some quality time in Denver at the out at
yeah. Hey, Ski, at least he remembers yours.
He's
never called me for my birthday.
Oh, my goodness. Come on, man. Okay, listen. Okay.
Hey, let's be brutally honest, man.
First of all,
he's never called me for my birthday.
Hold on, did you call me for mine? No.
No, because you don't call me for mine.
Oh, so this is payback. This is about vengeance. This is about, you don't call me, I'm not gonna call you. Oh my! But you had anytime I come to LA, he lives in Rancho Cucamonga, so. We always stay in Beverly Hills. He will always, as long as I've come to LA as an NBA player, Tony, we always hook up. Don't matter what time it is. And he's a retired California Highway patrolman. Okay. And how many years you worked there, Hawk?
17 years.
17 years. He was the biggest California Highway patrolman in California. Tallest guy. Okay. Could you imagine if you got pulled over and you saw this big dude come in at your car? You ain't gonna try no mess with him. But no matter what time it was, he could be working
suits. It was tough.
He could be working double shift, like working overtime, and he would get off at 6 a.m. And he's like, King, what time you want to go? What time you want to go grab something to eat? What time you want to go, shopping or whatever? He would come by and pick me up. Now, Rancho Cucamonga from LA probably takes over an hour to get there with traffic, probably longer than that.
Oh, yeah.
And so he always comes and gets me. He's been doing it since I've been in the league. And, I've always appreciated that. I always look forward to spending time with his family. His lovely wife, Laura, she's an excellent cook. She makes some enchiladas off the chain.
Chicken enchiladas.
Oh
chicken
man,
enchiladas. With the green sauce.
we tried to make them at our house. The recipe wasn't the same, huh? It wasn't the same. I ate them though, but the recipe wasn't the same. I got to keep a happy house.
Hey, let's take you back to your college days at Oklahoma. What are some of your favorite memories of playing with the King? Or some stories in the locker room or in class, whatever you like about whatever direction you want to take it. Ski, let's start with you. What are your memories of Stacy? Because, he's got this larger than life personality and people just gravitate to him.
Yeah, what you see is what you get, with Stacy. It's not like he's, one way, on video or on the radio or TV and different in person. One story I would throw out that it's really funny. We after our Final Four year, so Stacy was going to be a senior, in the fall, and my roommate Dave Seeger, who was a senior the Final Four year, and then he stuck around OU to graduate. He and I rented an apartment together at Post Oak. It was a kind of south part of Norman, kind of by Lloyd Noble. It's about a 350 unit apartment. It's a lot of people live, a lot of students live there, and so we moved in. I'm hanging out, and then I hear a voice outside the door, like downstairs, and I go out there, and Stacy's in the apartment right next to me. He lives right next to me in the apartment. And the thing that was great about that is obviously seeing him. We were still playing together, so giving him rides or I'd ride with him or whatever. But the cool thing about Stacy was I always had a lot of friends that would come in town for the games. And I could just call Stacy up, on the landline and say, "Hey, man, my buddy Chris is here, or Mike's here. They want to see you or meet you. Will you come over?" It kind of reminded me of the Seinfeld when Kramer comes through the door. He'll be right there. And then, within like 10 seconds, he's rolling in the door, coming up and taking pictures and signing autographs and everything. It was awesome to have an All-American, Player of the Year candidate. Living next door to me, and I was always wanting to come over and say hi to my buddies and girlfriends. A lot of great things happened when he came over.
Oh, I bet they did.
There's a lot of girlfriends. A lot of girlfriends.
Hot tubs, huh?
Yeah, hot tub. Hot.
Tony, we heard a little bit about your story rooming with the King. He was kind of telling us about your trip to Hawaii.
No, you can't say that.
Oh.
That's down low. See, this guy. He's like an old refrigerator. He can't keep nothing in. Come on, man.
Well, you were willing to tell them.
I would have told that story if I wouldn't want to tell it. I was just telling you.
How you know? I was just talking about Hawaii. You guys went to Hawaii.
Susan knew what you were going. Yeah.
Another story.
Yeah. Let Hawk tell his own stories of our relationship.
We have to protect the innocent here.
None of you two are innocent.
We won't tell that story.
There's a statute of limitations too, Hawk.
Yeah.
There's a lot of movements going on right now, and I don't want to get caught up into cancel culture. So I'll just keep that between me and Stacy and you guys.
How many years did you room with him, Tony?
I do have a story.
You got a story?
I do tell about the King. Oh, I got a lot of stories, but the one story that I would like to share is, Stacy and I, we were roommates, true enough, on the road. We were roommates also in college. And so, Stacy, he's always been, what you see now is the way he's always been. He's always had the gift of gab. He's always been a very likable person. He's always been, he walks into the room, all the air goes out. I mean, he had the it factor for a very long time. And so, we would sit up late at night, when we probably should have been sleeping, and just talk about how our life was going to be once, we were able to go to the NBA and make all this money and take care of our families and stuff like that. And, from very early on, Stacy always had the dreams and aspiration to be great. So what he's doing today in life, it doesn't surprise me one bit. He has always been a visionary. He's always been a dreamer, and he's always been able to obtain whatever goals that he's put forth. But in saying that, I had an opportunity to kind of steal some of his limelight 1 year. And this was his senior year. Our practices were very heated. Okay, we had some practices. 1 year they rated our starting five #1 in the country, and they rated our second team, our bench team. They rated them They rated us #2 in the country. That's how good we were. So, I know a lot of people see Stacy, remember him when he was in college and scoring 35, 40 points a game on national TV. Well, games were easy for Stacy because practices were so damn hard. I mean, we wouldn't let Stacy breathe. Well, this particular year, the first team and the second team, we got a little heated. Players were talking, kind of mouthing off, going back and forth. And Stacy and Skeeter Henry got into an altercation. And Stacy shattered his index finger on his left hand. And he had to have an operation. He had to have screws put in, and he had to sit out. How long were you out, King? 4 weeks or 6 weeks? I think
I was out 4 weeks, but I was supposed to miss the entire regular season and come back for the tournament.
Yep. Yeah, he came back with that popsicle stick finger, and then the team was just trying to hit his finger any chance they got to hurt it.
Yes.
Right. I remember. So here was my short-lived stardom to fame. While Stacey King was out, I was a starting power forward during that time, and I averaged somewhere around 20, 25 points a game and 10 to 12 rebounds. And I was all college MVP, all college tournament MVP. We didn't miss a beat with Stacy gone. We won a lot of games. We blew people out continuously. And I'll never forget Stacy coming into the locker room. And Stacy coming into the locker room and telling our trainer, Alex, to tape his finger up because his stock was going down and that the Hawk was playing too good and his stock was going down and he needed to get back out there on the floor. So sure enough, Stacy comes back. They put me back on the bench, and then the rest is history.
Nice.
Yeah, he was hooping. I will have to admit it. Him and Mike Bell, both those guys were playing well.
That's one of many stories. Yeah.
And I did have a broken index finger which took 3 screws, and I was supposed to miss the entire regular season of the rest of the season, which was probably about 18 to 20 games, plus the Big 8 tournament. And then I would have been able to come back for the NCAA tournament. And, so I was like, man, my stock's going down. Like, I'm a senior, I can't miss that many games. It's one thing to miss, 5 or 6. But when you have a broken finger with screws in it, and that's on my shooting hand. And so, he was playing well. He's not lying. He was scoring, and he got MVP of the all college tournament, which is a huge tournament. And I was sitting back and I was like, oh man, geez, they don't even miss me. I got to get back before they forget all about me. So every single people, the guys know, I was getting keys to the gym. I was in the gym shooting with my right hand, learning how to shoot right hand hook shots and shots in my right hand, just in case I couldn't shoot with my left. I was in rehab, probably 10 to 12 hours a day. I get out of class, drive up to Oklahoma City, go to the hand specialist and do all kind of drills and stuff. You never know how much you miss your fingers, until something like that happens. You take for granted the feel of the touch, because a basketball player who's a scorer, and Jason will tell you this, and Tony, you got to have a feel for the ball, when it rubs off your fingertips. You got to have that feeling. And I didn't have that feeling anymore because they had to put this thing we call the corn dog. It looked just like a corn dog. It was huge. It had to be probably, 7 inches past my finger. And when I came back from, when I was trying to come back from, I was learning how to shoot with it. And I ended up averaging more points with the corn dog than I did when I had healthy fingers. And when I came back my first game, I came off the bench and we were playing, I think it was North Carolina. I think we were playing Charlotte. And kid, first play of the game, just yanks my finger. Like guys were literally going after my finger the first couple of weeks, and then I had to make some threats when the whistle blew. I was like, yo, man, you do that again, I'm gonna punch you in the face. Oh, no, Stacy, wait, the coach told me to do it. And that's when I was like, wow, man, they really sent a kid out there to do that kind of stuff. And they did. It was crazy. But, these guys, I mean, Tony was balling for real. If I wouldn't have came back, it might have been a totally different story. I might not have been on the Bulls. I might have been in the second round.
Hey, Stacey, tell us why your jersey never stayed in your shorts.
Oh, because I didn't like them tight shorts. I didn't like the John Stockton shorts. I thought they were too tight. I didn't like them. And when I was in high school, I used to idolize DePaul. DePaul used to have the jerseys on the outside. Marquette had the jerseys on the outside. And I always thought that was the coolest thing. So that's kind of where I got it from in high school. And then I noticed, because I'm very superstitious, and everything about basketball for me, I have these little superstitious things, And one of the things was, as long as my jersey was tucked in, I could never really unleash me. I always felt contained. So when I was struggling, and all of a sudden I pulled that jersey out, it was business.
Whole new
then.
ball game.
I was a whole new ball. It was a totally different person. I'd drop 35, 40 points like it was nothing. And I always attributed in my mind that jersey was confining me, so I had to take it out. And so, they made a rule in college because of that. You can't have your jersey untucked anymore.
You come out for the opening tip, looking all good with it tucked in and everything. I mean, if you find video, it's funny, and then the game will start. And then as soon as he starts running up the court, he's
the photo behind you, Ski, hits untucked.
Yeah, that's a shooting shirt. It goes over top.
Yeah.
But
he's still tucked in.
Looks like
there.
Mookie has his tucked in. I don't know about you, Ski. You got yours untucked, it looks like.
Everybody had their jerseys tucked in but me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tubbs used to hate it. Tubbs used to say, "Tuck your jersey in, tuck it in." And he used to get away with it when I was younger because I was coming off the bench. I had no control.
Yeah.
But once I became one of the guys,
Big Daddy.
Yeah.
Hey,
little daddy. Hey, little daddy. Once I became the man, I could do what I want.
Once you got the inside job that you didn't have to show up for.
Tell okay, you guys. Okay, I tell these stories all the time about our summer jobs. Okay. And I always tell them my summer job because I always work construction. Tony worked inside. He had a nice job. He had worked at you work at a meat packing somewhere where you were in the refrigerator all the time in cool air.
Dude, that was not a good job. I was in the freezer.
Remember Paulie from Rocky?
He was in the freezer.
Paulie didn't like that job.
Listen, I was working at Scrivener. I don't know if they still have those warehouses around in Oklahoma. But my job was the produce department, and I was in the freezer getting stuff out of the freezer. I would have snot bubbles a mile long, frozen, and I would need a chisel to knock it off my nose. It was crazy.
Ski, where did you work?
They had to dress me up. They had to dress me up as an astronaut, pretty much, just to get in there to get some milk or some orange juice. It was ridiculous.
Ski, what job did you have?
I worked one summer at Oklahoma Tank Lines, OTL, and I worked with Jeff Webster. And we drive up there every morning, and our job was to wash the trucks, the big tanker trucks would come in, and we'd have the big car wash, hoses with the nozzles on them, and then we would rinse the trucks off, and then if they weren't white, the tanks were painted a white. If they weren't really white, like they'd been stained. And I can't believe we were doing this. We would have these like fire extinguisher pumping things that would be acid in it, and you spray it on the tank to whiten it, and then you wash it off again. We didn't have masks or anything. We were spraying chemicals all over the place inside.
That sounds like a lawsuit.
So King, your racetrack job sounds pretty good compared to what these two had to endure.
But listen,
now we find out you had the cush job.
Listen, first of all, you don't know nothing about Oklahoma Heat. You don't know nothing about it. Hey, yeah, tell them about Oklahoma Heat. They know nothing about Oklahoma Heat.
Well, whenever we would show up on campus, we would do our fitness program that would start in August. And August is the hottest time of the year in Oklahoma, humid, in the below 100 or 110 or whatever. So we would meet up. we would all pile into like 3 cars, and I had a 2-door Supra, and I'd have like 5 guys in my car with me driving that are, 6'8", 6'7", their knees are up on their face. And we would drive down to the track at 5 in the morning. It was dark. And then we would run, for like an hour and a half or so. The sun wouldn't even be up and we'd be done. We'd drive back home and get ready for class because it was too hot, during the day to be out there. Yeah.
Ski, don't be modest. Ski, don't be modest. Tell the truth. You used to kick our butt every day on the track.
Oh, him and Dave Seeger. Him and Dave Seeger.
Tell them your mile times.
Well, I think the record was like 4:40 a mile. I think it was 4:40. Yeah. And Seeger got like 4:39 and I got 4:41 or something like that. But yeah, I beat 5 minutes.
It was always the white guys. The black guys couldn't catch them. They would take off and they would set the pace and literally, they would be gone and they would lap some of the people. They would literally lap. I mean, like I remember the time I got lapped, I wanted to tackle them because we had a time to get in. You had there was a time to get in. On? Yeah, we all had shoes on, but it was the fact that these guys never lost the mile run. We had to run 2 miles. We had to run 1 mile mile in the beginning to warm up. Then they had to run 1 mile for time, the second mile, and they never lost either mile run.
Time, yeah.
Chariots of Fire, babe.
But if you want to throw them sprints in there though, yeah, there's a difference. Hundreds, yeah, remember? Oh yeah, he went. Jason wasn't in the top one of that one. Jason wanted to tackle some people. Slow down, guys. Slow down.
Yeah, we had that one day. Remember when David Johnson was running with us, and then we lost him, and we'd be like, Mark. And we're running around the track. Where is he?
We were running in the morning, and this guy, David Johns, he was older than us. He was a senior, and he didn't like running on the track. So this guy gets up, and we were always running for disciplinary reasons, for guys missing class, which that sucked. So this guy decides that he doesn't want to run, so he dresses all black, and it's dark outside. So we start running, and everybody's running around the track. So it gets to the end, and everybody's like, "Where's DJ? Anybody seen DJ? DJ, where's DJ?" Well, he was in the pack. He was. I saw him around the second turn, whatever. He fell out at the far end at the round turn as you're coming around the finish line, and he's just laying in the grass. He looked like a trash bag. So we all thought he was a trash bag because he was in all black. So we just kept running. We just kept running. No one knew it was him, and he looked like a trash bag. And so at the end, it's like, "Where's DJ? Where's DJ?" And he's already talking about he's having a heart attack at 21 years old. Come on, man. Come on, man.
Take me to the hospital. An heart attack.
Hey, fun fact about Stacy. Fun fact about Stacy. We were roommates, and I noticed because we had like 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom apartments off campus. We were rock stars back then. So Stacy, I noticed he would never be home. I mean, he would, like, after practice, I wouldn't see him. And I wouldn't see him until like either the next day in class or the next day in practice. And I didn't know why. I didn't want to be in his business and be asking a bunch of questions and stuff, but come to find out years later, unbeknownst to me, and I wish he would have shared, this guy would play 2.5 to 3 hours full-blown practice with us. And then he would go eat over at the training table and then go over to, what was it called? The Houston Huffman?
Yep.
On campus and play with the football players another 2 or 3 hours until they closed. And then he would disappear with his girlfriend or whatever. But yeah, I never knew that he was getting that extra work in. And over time, by doing that over time, he just got better and better and better and better. And that is a true tribute to his work ethic, because, had he not done that, who knows, he may have not ever, gotten drafted or played in the NBA or accomplished any of his goals. But, he was just such a workaholic, and he has such a vision. And to have that mindset back then at, 18, 19 years old, I mean, it was unprecedented. And so I wish he would have shared with me, because then if I would have been over there playing with him too, maybe I would have got been a lot of I don't know.
Well, that's the kind of work ethic that gets you into the Hall of Fame. Tony, Jason, I want to thank you so much for joining us, spending some time with your reflections on being teammates with the Hall of Famer, Stacy King. Thank you so much for joining us on episode 27 of Gimme the Hot Sauce. As we say goodbye to Jason and Tony, we got a special show announcement for you. We're taking the show on the road next week. The first time we're going to be out and about, as we're so glad that things are opening up in the Chicago area. We're going to do the show from Saludos in Gurnee on Grand Avenue there. You can look up the address. John, you know the address off the top of your head, but we invite people to come on
website.
out. Yeah, we'll have information on that. It's going to be Wednesday, May 12th. Give me the hot sauce on the road. So want to thank all our guests, JB Long as well. Enjoy your week, and we'll be coming at you on the road next week for episode 28 of Gimme the Hot Sauce. Stacy.
And don't forget, Chicago, you can get your hot sauce on eBay. Gimme the hot sauce is now in a bottle, and you can get it on eBay, and it tastes good too.
Ooh, it goes down smooth. It goes down smooth.
Drive home safely, Chicago. Beep, beep. Don't knock the hustle, baby. Don't knock the hustle.